Starting with Tony, what is the biggest obstacle hindering small business development in your district, and how will you help?
Well, I think that in terms of small businesses, what we need to do is continually work with them. I can tell you right now, in terms of small business development, I've reached out to a number of businesses, such as the Schwartz bookstore. Borderline case, I guess that wouldn't be a small business. But if you look at Sven's, they had trouble accessing retail investment fund grants. I successfully worked with them to access those grants. They also needed a variance with respect to their mural. There's a number of other businesses like Wildflower Bakery that approached me with respect to a parking problem. They said there isn't sufficient parking around their business, and they want to know if I can help with respect to the parking. I was able to have the bus stop move and rearrange the parking in that particular area to aid them. Jimmy John's, before they came to Bayview, they had a problem with a number of issues, including the location, believe it or not, of a garbage dumpster, which was a very big issue for them because they couldn't put it behind their business. Every particular business that has contacted me, small business that has contacted me with respect to a problem, has received a return phone call and my efforts to work with them to help them out. Any small business that has approached me, I've worked with them to accomplish those goals, and I will continue to do so. In addition to that, I try to bring back the Bayview Business Association, and I'm working with Ford Bayview in terms of ways where we can help businesses as well.
I believe that the biggest problem is the education of the people that are wanting to start small businesses. As Tony just got done saying, the businesses that are already there that have contacted him, he's assisted. But what about the people that are starting up on their own that didn't even know to contact the Alderperson? Or didn't know that there were grant programs, or any of the programs that are out there, whether it's grant or informational. These people don't know. I learned the hard way by opening my business. I had to go and do the searching by myself, not knowing who to ask. It's a hard thing to do. So if we can assist the small business owners and developers in giving them the information up front and making Milwaukee's website easier to navigate, we're going to succeed with bringing in more small businesses and helping the small businesses that are already here.
While pedestrian right-of-way signs and crosswalks exist in abundance across the district's thoroughfares, police do not seem to be enforcing laws pertaining to pedestrian safety. Why is there no discernible enforcement of existing laws pertaining to pedestrian safety, and what can you do to increase pedestrian safety in Bayview?
This one kind of makes me laugh. I was at a crosswalk and a police van didn't stop. State law. They have to stop if you're in a crosswalk. They were not on call. Lights weren't on, anything like that. It's very important that we do have this issue taken care of. I've seen the crosswalk signs that go up in the middle of the street. You've all seen those, the little triangle or rectangular ones. And they've gone up on Brady, they've gone up on KK. And then in a couple days, bam, they get hit by a car. There goes $1,000. Because they got to replace it. They got to send somebody else out there. There's other options. There's other crosswalk signs, maybe a little bit more expensive. But you can get them put up and they're not going to get hit by a car. There's lit LED ones. You push the button when you're ready to go across the street. It flashes, gets the attention of the drivers well in advance. This is a better implication than having something that could in fact cause an accident, especially to a motorcyclist in the middle of the street that's going to get run over.
Statistical studies clearly demonstrate that in-street yield to pedestrian signs have a significant impact on educating drivers on the rules of the road. And our district received more in-street yield to pedestrian signs than any other district in the entire city of Milwaukee. And I fought for that, and I successfully fought for that because pedestrian safety is a major concern of my particular constituents, and that's why I reached out and fought for that. Now, as far as the enforcement of those measures, I think it's critical that we have sufficient manpower on the street in our police services so that if an individual is not following the rules of the road, that we have the resources necessary to make sure that appropriate action is taken. What is the best future use for vacant buildings on KK? And
and is it the alderman's responsibility to speak with building owners to help usher in new owners or change? Is it the alderman's responsibility to be instrumental in creating business improvement districts?
Absolutely. It is 110% the responsibility of the alderperson to help fill up those vacant storefronts. And that's why I've proactively reached out to a number of businesses on the KK Strip and other areas of Bayview. And I think in terms of the specific businesses that are located in those particular buildings, I think what we need to do is identify what are the businesses that would be the most successful and the biggest need. And that's what I've been doing over the last 4 years. I contacted the Outpost Health Food Store on a regular basis. I had constituents contact them on a regular basis. In the Schwartz Bookstore press release, they even announced that I contacted them every other week for almost a year before they came down here. The list goes on, and I will continue to work towards the positive economic development revitalization efforts that have occurred over the last few years. And my prediction is that 4 years from now, that the development that will have occurred in Bayview will be just as significant, if not greater, than what has occurred over the last 4 years.
It is definitely the alderman's position and responsibility to do so. I'm glad that I asked the question in the last debate why we don't have a BID, a business improvement district, for this area. I asked the current alderman, and not to pick on you too much, but he said that people didn't want it because it was too expensive. Again, I went up and down KK the last few weeks and I asked the business owners, have you been approached about a BID? Describe what it was. Not anyone that I spoke to said they've been approached. This is a huge tool that can be used for beautification, for safety, and for helping fill the vacant spots in those storefronts. Yes, we need to focus on what type of businesses go in there, but at this point there are no businesses, so that's not helping us at all. So we need to get something in there, but most of all, we need to put together a business improvement district.
And one final question. Will you operate any other businesses other than your full-time position as alderman?
If I go first? Yes, I'm an owner-broker of Kinetic Real Estate Group. I'm going to continue working with my business partners to make sure that that business is flourishing and grows into the future. That's one way of, living my life and making my money, and to allow me to give back to the community, which I do so with sponsoring different events through my company. We've been a sponsor of the Bayview Bash ever since it started. We've been in the Frolics Parade many years, putting our own money into our own floats. We've been sponsors of the Brady Street Festival, and so much more. So yeah, I'm going to continue working.
I can tell you after the last 4 years, if you're going to do this job the way it needs to be done, this is a 60 to 70 hour a week job if you're going to do it effectively. Everybody in my district that's contacted me, they know that my home number is in the book. They know that I'm going to return their phone call. People that talk to me on a regular basis or have questions where we're having trouble communicating, I give them my cell phone that I pay for out of my own pocket, because I know that was raised at the last meeting. I pay for it myself. I'm accessible 7 days a week, and that's proven. People know in my district that I'm accessible 7 days a week. You want to maximize the economic development of this district and address these issues, you need an alderman that's going to spend 60 to 70 hours a week, which is what I have done for this particular job. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing for the last 4 years. What I told my constituents 4 years ago is everything that I've followed through on in terms of my efforts and all the different areas with regard to the issues in our community.